And then he said, "You mean you're 34 and you're still believing in leprechauns, me boy?" Anyway. We're on? Oh, hi. Ooh. Welcome to the Cabin Podcast. I'm Audio Dave.
What's a
He's
lie?
Eric.
This is identity
I don't have
theft.
responsibility now. I'm with Susan and Mariah. How are y'all? Happy St. Patty's.
Doing great. Yes. Celebrating the Irish and all of. Are we all Irish here?
To some
Dave,
extent.
I know
Check it
Susan
out.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, you're not Irish?
I'm quite Polish,
Polish.
which that always prompts Eric to make jokes about Polish people.
Well, I'm part Polish, so I can do that.
Yeah.
You know.
That's the rule now.
Yes. St. Patty's is always so much fun, though. You never know what weather you're going to get, but
Yeah.
you do know you're going to have a fun time. Don't start at 6 a.m., though, like a lot of people I know.
Drinking at 6?
Some of those bars open at 6 a.m. and people
Oh, my.
clad in every green thing from plastic hats to the, the Mardi Gras style
The beads.
necklaces and all that, and
Yeah.
the beads and all that. They start at 6 a.m. and by 11:30 in the morning, the cops like dragging them away from the bar and the gutter. So celebrate responsibly, my friends.
It's a great holiday.
It's really in Ireland. It's actually more of a religious holiday and such. Americans are like, let's drink, woo! We did that with Cinco de Mayo too. We're taking everybody else's holidays and turning them into big drinking fests.
Sounds about
But hey.
right. It's the American way.
It's
It
the
is
melting
American
pot.
way. Certainly the
Really?
Wisconsin way, right?
Do they have lighthouses in Ireland? They've got to have plenty. I would
They
They have a
think.
lot of
do.
craggy shoreline in Ireland. And yes, we're talking about lighthouses today in Ireland, one place filled with them. Although we're probably going to have to focus on our state, huh?
Yes, that is probably.
That's kind of what we do here.
That's kind of what. It's kind of our thing.
Sometimes.
Okay. On the count of 3, I want everyone to divulge the name of the person on this podcast that you think would have made the best lighthouse keeper. Is that what they're called? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have to think of what my answer is going to be. So back in the day, who would have been the best lighthouse keeper out of the cabin crew?
Okay.
I'm still undecided. I'm trying to think of
Are
my
we waiting until
reasoning.
you count to 3 here?
Yeah, I'm picking my person. It's really high pressure.
This
Okay.
was your idea.
Yeah, she came up with this idea, but was not prepared to
To answer.
stick to it.
God.
Okay. I got it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Eric.
Audio Dave.
Eric. What
Oh.
did you
So
say,
that
Dave?
was 2 for Eric, 2 for me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
like how we were free from that, Mariah.
Okay, so now, yeah. The women are not.
You can put me out on an island for a couple years of solitude and peace and quiet.
So
I'm an only child. I could handle it.
I know, it's funny. I chose you, Eric, because I feel like you would be really good at just amusing yourself solo in a lighthouse for hours on
true.
end.
Yeah, it goes back to when I was 12. What? Yeah. No, I do a lot of writing. I do a lot of, if I could remote broadcast from a lighthouse, that would be cool.
Oh, that would be so cool.
You know,
And start a radio station in a lighthouse.
how cool would that be?
That's a good idea. I mean, it'd probably work well, wouldn't it? Kind of.
Lighthouse radio playing all your favorite hits. Let's do this. Yeah.
The Beacon.
The Beacon. That would be the perfect name
Oh
for a
my
station.
gosh.
Yes.
I think you
The
guys should
Lens.
start a partnership here together.
All right.
I'm seeing it. Yep.
Right in the lighthouse. I feel like if Audio Dave just like brought Jack, had some of his like equipment, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
I haven't met you in person yet, Dave, but that's how I feel. The vibe.
Yeah, I could spend a lot of time just with my dog. Would probably miss my wife, but if she could come, be great.
Okay, is Liza listening to the pod yet?
Nope. She's
What
hearing it
the
through that there wall.
Oh my goodness.
That there wall, huh?
I'm going to keep harassing her I'm just going to bring her into the pod until she's intrigued enough to listen to us on a regular basis.
I'm
Yeah.
going to have to start that radio station. 98.7, The Lens.
You're still dreaming over there of your lighthouse radio station. I love it.
Those signals beam across water like that. And so does the light from a lighthouse, which is why they're so important. You know, those lighthouses perched right on the coasts, designed to warn sailors of approaching land, in some cases really rocky shores and cliffs and things like that. And that lighthouse, I mean, lighthouses in general, I mean, some of their beams go out 25, 35 miles. Out into the murky waters of whether it's the ocean or the Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes certainly has a lot of lighthouses. I think all of us have seen in someone's house that framed it's not a picture, but it's a framed drawing, like a map, lighthouses of the Great Lakes. Have we all seen that?
I don't think so.
Oh, I know a ton of people who have that in their hallway or their basement or something like that. And it's a cool illustrative map of all these different lighthouses along all the 5 Great Lakes. And being on the shore of 2 of the Great Lakes, Wisconsin certainly has its fair share of cool lighthouses. On Lakes
How many
Michigan and
exactly?
Superior, I'm not sure if we have any others. Like, is there a lighthouse in Lake Winnebago? I'm not sure.
I think so.
I think so too.
There might be.
Yeah.
But we're focusing on Lake Superior in Michigan in this particular episode.
Yeah.
So, shall we get lit?
Shall
Well,
we
we have
talk
to-
about the county of the week?
We're not even into the episode yet. Stay tuned.
All right, the cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association, and this week we're featuring Sawyer County, which was named for Philetus Sawyer. Philetus? My dad's name is Phil. I don't know what Phil with an E-T-U-S is pronounced.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's go with Philetus.
Sawyer. I'll go with that just because it's funny to me. A New England man who represented Wisconsin in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate in the 19th century. Sawyer County is known for logging, which began in the late 1850s. Very safe to say it's in the North Woods, wouldn't you say, y'all?
Yep.
Yeah. So loggers came from the New England area of the U.S. They were referenced as the Yankee migrants. The logging routes can be found throughout the county, including in Hayward, the largest city in Sawyer County. It was named for Anthony Judson Hayward, a lumberman who located the site for building a sawmill around which the town grew. And of course, the World Lumberjack Championships take place in Hayward. Every year we don't have COVID going on. And it's really cool up there if you ever get a chance to go there. The Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame is fantastic in Hayward. And they have the world's largest muskie there that you can crawl up into. And, Stone Lake, that whole area is just, if you love the North Woods beauty and a lot of serenity and a lot of outdoor recreation, Sawyer County, definitely a great place to check out.
One of my favorite downtowns, Hayward. I just
Yeah,
love
it's
their
unique.
downtown,
It's
their Main
very
Street.
cool.
Probably no lighthouses in Sawyer County that I'm
Probably not.
aware
Probably
of. We got to get on that Sawyer County. JK. Okay, there are 55 lighthouses in Wisconsin. I was pretty surprised to learn that. That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, each come with their own unique story, and they're just beautiful. I mean, I feel like, I remember, so we do a calendar every year for Discover Wisconsin, and we've thrown around the idea of doing like a themed calendar, and lighthouses has been brought up just because they're so gorgeous. They really
That
are.
would be a great one.
Don't you think? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Photographers love lighthouses. So we wanted to do a whole show today on the lighthouses of Wisconsin. And I think we kind of all agreed this required a bit of research on each of our parts. Not a topic, admittedly, that I knew a ton about before going into this. So I do want to shout out my research assistant / intern, Bridget, for coming to the rescue here with some really fun little factoids that I'm going to bring in. She's awesome.
That's Mariah passing the buck in case anything's wrong here.
Exactly.
And that's me noting that she gets an intern.
You can jump on the facts I brought in here.
I have to rely on my own brains, Mariah. You know how unfair that is? All right, you want to get us going?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it probably makes sense to start in Door County just because there
A lot of them are indoor.
11 of the 55 are indoor county. I think when people think about lighthouse tourism, at least for me, my mind goes straight to Door County. That is one of the top activities to do indoor is take a lighthouse tour. I've been to 1 out of the 11, so I've got some work to do on this front. Susan, I'm curious to know, do locals indoor, do you think they take advantage of the lighthouse culture up there, or is it just like the touristy thing to do?
I think the full tours are maybe the touristy thing to do, but I've been to almost all of the lighthouses just for like funsies, just for
Yeah.
kind of walking around. But
Yeah.
also I think anyone who's just a history buff by nature will really enjoy them. So, and that could be anybody. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a couple that really stand out to me. So Cana Island Lighthouse is the one that I've been to. I took my little brother there. We did a little tour probably 3 or 4 years ago. And he loves history. He's such a history buff. And I just love like a really awesome view. So for us, this was the best of both worlds. And I remember them doing an awesome job of just breaking down the history for you. And I do find like the role of a lighthouse keeper fascinating. Just the idea that they would, stay cooped up in this lighthouse and had to be on at all times to kind of watch out for.
Lots of stairway climbing.
Lots of stairway climbing. What would also be really cool these days is to turn one of those things, turn a lighthouse into like an Airbnb. I wonder if they've done that yet.
Oh, I'm sure
someone
been done.
has.
No, I gotta Google
it would be so cool.
In Wisconsin, Airbnb.
That's another topic. I guess we'll have to do some research on and find out. 'Cause now I'm curious about that. I'd love to stay in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cana Island that's one I want to start with. It's a very popular, probably one of the most popular, I would imagine, indoor county. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and the island is actually accessible by a small little sandbar and land bridge that opens up in low tide, allowing you to walk right out to it, which is, I think, super awesome. Also indoor is the Sturgeon Bay Ship Canal Pier Headlight, located at the fully operational U.S. Coast Guard station on the Lake Michigan end of the Sturgeon Bay Ship Canal.
And that is really cool to motor through on your boat because the Bay of Sturgeon Bay is pretty big and wide at the Green Bay water end. And you get through and it's, they had to hand cut that canal through to complete a ship's ability to transition across the peninsula. I think it was 1882, right? That they opened that. And it's not that wide, so you're just on your boat going really, 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 really slow through that little cut. And you just think about how long ago it was when they had to cut that open and connect those waters to Lake Michigan. And when you're going back out past the pier, out onto the much choppier waters often of Lake Michigan, that lighthouse is a really cool one to be able to see. And you've got all the Coast Guard stuff right there and everything. So if you can see that by boat too, definitely try and check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There's also the Sherwood Point Lighthouse, which is very popular. It was established in 1883, now open to the public during the Lighthouse Walk, which is, I don't know if they're having it this year. I would think they probably are in June.
Not sure quite yet.
They have it up on their...
for something like that, though.
That's what I'm thinking. And I think Door County has it on their website as of now. So it's looking good. Yeah, lighthouse tourism, by the way, it's a good thing to bring up, is pretty COVID friendly in terms of being able to spread out. And, obviously the tour on the inside is not outdoors. But I remember even when I did my lighthouse tour in Door County, it was small, very, very small groups. It's obviously a pretty confined space in the lighthouse itself. And the grounds are always really beautiful, too.
Yeah, in fact, I'll mention one where they have a lot of cool stuff on the grounds, and that's all along Lake Michigan, just north of Racine at Wind Point. Mm-hmm. And Wind Point Lighthouse, it's one of the tallest lighthouses on the Great Lakes that's still active. Dates back to 1880. They built a lot of these lighthouses. They were all like 19th century construction originally. And it's 103 feet tall or 108 feet tall. I forgot which. And you can go to the top on a tour. And the view there is fantastic because you can see along the shoreline down to Racine and up towards Milwaukee. And you're really sticking out there. In fact, when we get lake effect snow on the Lake Michigan side, they usually get hit the hardest because they really do stick out there. And the little village of Wind Point, their village hall is essentially connected to it. And then there are some outbuildings closer to the actual shore, and it's only a couple 100 feet away. But there's a couple of little old houses that you can check out. The old foghorn is right there that you can see. And there's actually a nice little beach right there in front of it. So if you want a lighthouse that you can easily tour and very easily reach, I mean, you drive right up to it and park right there. There's you don't have to wait for low tide on this one. You can go right to the Wind Point Lighthouse and really just get it's beautiful if you're just standing looking at it, but it's really beautiful if you get a chance to get up there.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because since there's quite a few islands off of Door, and some of these lighthouses are on those islands, not all of them are super accessible. You've got Chambers Island Lighthouse, there's Pilot Island, Plum Island. I really have wanted to see Potawatomi Lighthouse. That's on Rock Island State Park, which has been on my bucket list forever. So that's one I'm definitely hoping to see. And they all have their own uniqueness. Like, it's not just their, the visual of each, they're very different. They're not just kind of replications of one another, which I really like. Eagle Bluff Lighthouse,
it's not like a standard design.
No, not
Yeah.
at all. Some of them look more like homes, actually. I have to do a double take. Like, I think the one on Rock Island, Potawatomi, almost looks more like a home than it does like your typical lighthouse, which is kind of cool to see. And then I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of photos of Eagle Bluff Lighthouse because that's the one that's located in Peninsula State Park, which is, I think, I want to say like the second most popular, I could be wrong, but I think it's the second most popular state park in the entire state.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a big one. So
And you can bike right up to it. It's a beautiful
yes,
spot.
yeah. That one was built in 1868. It must have been fascinating to be in the 1800s and see like all these lighthouses. Like that was a popular to have all these lighthouses, be established and built around the exact same time. Must have been kind of interesting for the locals.
Well, historically speaking, it was really necessary in Door County, which is also, for anyone who knows how Door County got its name, being nicknamed off of Death's Door, they needed that to honestly stop that many shipwrecks happening. So, yeah, it was a pretty necessary.
Yeah, saving lives. It doesn't get more necessary than that. Got any fun stories, Susan, as a Door County local? Because I know there's some ghost stories associated with some of the lighthouses throughout Wisconsin. But anything we should know as a local there?
There are quite a lot of ghost stories. So my two favorite are not accessible at all, and they are Plum Island and Pilot Island, because those are the two on the top of the peninsula, which is exactly where like the Death's Door Point meets. And that's also where, if you go kind of like sailing or if you're like kayaking out on a really clear day, you can still see at the right spot some of the shipwrecks like below. So I always like those two. They have to be haunted.
Oh yeah,
just
for
have
sure.
to be.
Yes.
But I think though, like historically speaking, those are like my favorite because you can like feel all of what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are my favorites.
Well, it is a crazy spot because there's a lot of shoals in there and a lot of very shallow water next to a lot of deep water. And yeah, so those lighthouses are very necessary. And then the other place you'll find a lot of lighthouses are at the entrance to cities.
Yep.
And I know, Mariah, you have one in Kenosha. You wanted to mention.
I do. Oh, I want to see the inside of this one so bad. The Kenosha Southport Lighthouse was built in 1866. It was the first navigational light a mariner would see upon entering Wisconsin from Chicago. So it had to, just to think it was just this major symbol, like basically the Welcome to Wisconsin billboard for the 1800s. And it's a beauty. So this is another one that kind of it's got like this gorgeous brick home right next to the actual lighthouse. And it's, I think, one of the more photographed. I've seen a lot of photos of this one and the one I think in Racine, southeastern Wisconsin. There's a lot of really cool photographed lighthouses, but this one is an absolute stunner. Again, an 1860s lighthouse, and then that keeper's residence is pretty big. I mean, the lighthouse isn't much bigger than the actual house itself. And now that the keeper's residence is actual museum with local fishing and shipping exhibits. So you can go visit it, check it out for yourself. And I just love Kenosha. It's a really, really cool city.
It's right on a spot they call Simmons Island.
Yeah.
Which is right by the harbor and everything downtown. And so it's so close to so many other great things you can check out. In Kenosha. And there's two in Milwaukee I'm going to mention here. One is a little more grand, so I'm going to start with the other one. The Milwaukee Pierhead Light, and I'm a little partial to this one because I jog past it on my running route frequently. But that is right where the Milwaukee Harbor meets Lake Michigan. And so it's not very tall. It's maybe 40-something feet high or something like that. It dates back to the 1870s. And you can actually, most of the time you can't climb up it, but once in a while the door is open. I don't necessarily suggest going up there because it's not real safe. It's kind of very metally. Like one time I was jogging and the door was open and everybody was trying to crowd up there. And it's like this little narrow spiral metal staircase. And I'm like, boy, somebody's just going to fall and there's going to be a problem. But if you can get up there and look, you got a great little view of downtown. And it's a round steel tower. So it's also considered, it's near the breakwater light, which is not the same thing as a lighthouse per se. And so the original lens in that Pierhead light is actually, it's a Fresnel lens, which is a special kind of lens that breaks up the convex pieces of a lens. And you can see that at the Wisconsin Maritime Museum in Manitowoc if you ever get a chance to get there. But this Pierhead light is really cool because it's right behind Summerfest, and people can just go right up to it and check it out. And it's really cool because it's right under the Hone Bridge, and you can see the boats coming in and out of the harbor. The other really cool one, it's more beautiful, and there's a museum attached with it, and that is the North Point Lighthouse. So the Milwaukee Pierhead Light is just south of downtown. The North Point Lighthouse is about 3 miles north of downtown, and the lake, downtown's kind of on an inlet of the lake, and then the land kind of creeps back out to the east. So the North Point Lighthouse is right at the peak of where that point is. And it offers a really spectacular 360-degree view of the city, Lake Park, and Lake Michigan. And there's a museum that's right there, and you can just drive right up to it in Lake Park. So you can really get a nice look at lighthouse history, how it helps ships navigate. There's a keeper's wall that talks about families who lived in that lighthouse and on North Point and all that stuff. There's even a gift shop. Not many lighthouses have that.
No, they don't.
In Wisconsin, but
cool.
they've got it all right there. And and really it dates back, 1855 is when the original one was built.
Wow.
So.
It's early.
It's not that tall, but it's on a big bluff over the lake, so you get a really nice view of it.
So I know we kind of brought this up, but Lake Michigan and Lake Superior get a lot of the attention in terms of lighthouse tours, but I do want to take us to our largest inland lake for just a second here, Lake Winnebago. So I think if my research assistant here has it accurate,
oh boy.
I'm counting. No pressure, Bridget. Your future depends on the following research. I think I'm counting 5 lighthouses at least on Lake Winnebago, which I did. This is exciting to me. Yeah. So there's the Fond du Lac Lighthouse, which is gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, it's in Lakeside Park, right?
At Lakeside Park. The Asylum Point Lighthouse in Oshkosh. I kind of forgot about that one. I knew that existed. The Neenah Lighthouse, also known as it's at Kimberly Point Park. So it's also known as Kimberly Point. There's also the Calumet Harbor Lighthouse. And then is there a 5th one? I think that's the same one that's at Kimberly Point. There might be another one at Kimberly Point. So one that I do want to talk about. So at least, I'm not sure if there's 4 or there's 5, but there's several around Lake. You could easily do a tour around Lake Winnebago. One that I thought was kind of a fun story that Bridget shared with me was Braise Point in Oshkosh. So there's some cool shallow reefs along the shore here. But local government didn't think that a lighthouse was needed in Oshkosh. So William Bray, who was a former state senator, decided to take matters into his own hands, bought the land, and paid himself to construct a lighthouse. And then he also served as the light's operator. So there you have it. William Bray just didn't think the government was doing it safe and decided to look out for Oshkosh on his own terms.
Nice.
Talk
Very
about
cool,
taking it
gosh.
into your own hands.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, Lake Winnebago, it kind of flies under the radar. Everyone assumes, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior are the lakes where danger can occur, but you kind of forget just how massive Lake Winnebago really is, and how they were really utilizing the lake back in the day too. Like the fact that there's that many lighthouses around the shores is. By the way, full disclosure, I really want to do a Lake Winnebago communities episode. I think it would be really fun to do a tour of the lake. Yeah, so maybe we can do a segment on the lighthouses of Lake Winnebago.
Yeah, it'd be a nice little day trip, kind of going around checking out every lighthouse and stopping
Lake
at a
Winnebago
park
is
afterward.
but you can do the whole circumference in a nice day trip.
Yeah.
Fun.
Sweet.
For sure.
Any others on Lake Michigan you want to hit?
Back to Lake Michigan? Well, let's see.
Some Jonesing to go to Superior.
Okay, I guess the only other one, I really like the Port Washington Light Station. I see a lot of, I want to shout out photographer Eric Curtin on Instagram and Facebook. Over the years, has always sent me some really awesome photography, and he just, in my head, I always see this iconic image of the waves crashing up against the Port Washington Light Station. It's so dramatic, so look up his work. It's really cool. That one was built in 1860, and it's now serving as a museum. And then one other one I wanted to quickly talk about was Rawley Point and Two Rivers. We didn't bring this one up yet, right? So I was curious if you had been to this one, Eric, because I know you did a little bit in Two Rivers a few years ago for Discover Wisconsin, but you guys didn't.
Yeah, we were at Rogers Street Fishing Village and some other cool stops because it's Manitowoc and Two Rivers are both very maritime cities, and they have a lot of cool things to check out. And Two Rivers also has, of course, the ice cream sundae, where the ice cream sundae was invented. But I've not been to Rawley Point and that lighthouse, but I certainly want to make a note of it. I know it's a little bit north of town, right?
Yes. So this was apparently a relocated lighthouse that came from Chicago in 1894 and rises 113 feet above Lake Michigan. Its lantern evidently is one of the largest and brightest on all of the Great Lakes. And it's actually part of Point Beach State Forest and can be viewed from the beach. So that one I thought sounded really unique and kind of interesting. Now we got to go to Raleigh Point.
Relocate that on a train?
Can you imagine? Oh, that's a good question. Bridget, where are you at?
I would imagine by
I'll have
boat.
some follow-ups for her. Yeah, by boat, that would
when
make
they load
sense.
it on a ship.
But how's that ship going to land safely?
Oh,
The
my
lighthouse.
goodness.
It'll come in during the day, maybe.
Fair
Let's head to Lake Superior.
Let's go up there and do this. I'm going to give a shout. I'll first of all start at the very tip with the Superior Entry Lighthouse, which was built in 1913.
Yes.
Now, it's not open for tours, but it is one of the most popular Instagram sites in Superior.
Guilty.
You can access it by concrete walkways. And yeah, it's on Wisconsin Point, which literally, the cool thing about Lake Superior, you know where the very end of it is. There's Minnesota Point that comes in from Duluth and Wisconsin Point that comes in from the Superior side. There's a little interruption there where the St. Louis River flows through, and that's the western edge of Lake Superior. And so that lighthouse marks the spot where you enter the lake from essentially Duluth Harbor, where that Duluth Lift aerial bridge is. That's their iconic sign, and of course you can see that easily from Superior. But the lighthouse is what really welcomes people to and from Gitchigumi.
And I remember, so they have all those cool, the little signs up at the beaches that you can read about the history and the geography. And there were a lot of really fascinating ones from what I remember when I was up at Wisconsin Point Light. It's the longest freshwater sandbar in the world, which is super cool. I find it kind of funny that the Minnesota side of the opening is known as Minnesota Point, and then, of course, we call ours Wisconsin Point. They have two separate names for essentially.
Creative, no?
I know, so creative. And supposedly, I don't know, I'm sure this is just judged based on statistics and whatnot, but it's apparently one of the safest harbors, of all time, ever, I think. So good job.
Well, you can duck behind those sandbars, and you're in much better shape.
Yeah.
So does that make it the most unnecessary lighthouse or the most effective?
The most successful.
That's
Well,
a
it has
great
to
question.
guide you to that spot, so of course it's...
Yeah. Kind of funny. That's a cool one. It's gorgeous. And yeah, you're right. That Instagram photo too, it's a lighthouse that just really stands out. I remember when I was there, you've got sailboats right behind the lighthouse. You've got kids playing on the beach over here to the right. You can walk out pretty far out to the lighthouse itself. And it's a pretty popular spot for locals up there in the Duluth Superior area.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting little differences with all these lighthouses. When you look at pictures of them, they really are no two are alike.
Yeah.
They're so different in heights, too. Some of these lighthouses are only 30, 40 feet high, and some are over 100 feet high.
Yeah.
Some are like pyramids, some are round. It's just kind of interesting how it all works.
Yes.
Now, there's a whole smattering of lighthouses along the Lake Superior shore, mainly off the coast in Bayfield County, because there are so many islands. Which islands, Mariah?
The Apostle Islands.
The Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. What is it, 22 islands, right? Something along those lines?
That's right.
And many of those islands have lighthouses on them to warn sailors of the impending one. But the lighthouse at Devil's Island, it's the only one on the Apostles that retains its original Fresnel lens. So it's a very, very old light.
Wow. Do they still use those, or is it kind of digital now?
There's a lot more digital and LED going on right now.
Okay.
The Fresnel lenses have been very important for lighthouses throughout most of history. That was first lit in 1891. The keeper's dwelling is this 2-story red brick Queen Anne style place to live. It's pretty cool. And then there's a separate building for the steam fog signal. And the tower itself was made of wooden timbers originally. So it is cool. They're not only beautiful, but just how different all of them are is really cool. And then just all the ways they replace them and update them and all that kind of stuff. And most of the lighthouses were automated more recently than you think, like the 1960s and 70s.
Oh, wow.
There were lighthouse keepers most of the time prior to that.
Huh. What an interesting job.
So it's pretty cool. And then there's just a bunch of other lighthouses there. I mean, we don't have time to get into all of them, but if you're in the Bayfield area and around the Apostle Islands, lighthouse tours, that's a day in itself.
Yep.
It really is.
There in Door
Madeline
County.
Island, Bayfield.
Those are the two popular lighthouse tour locales.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was so intriguing. It really, this is probably the show of all the shows we've done where I had like the least amount of knowledge of the topic. And it was fun to kind of dive in a little bit. And because you take them for granted a little bit. Like you see them, they're these beautiful, man-made structures with like awesome history, really, really interesting history. But you kind of, you forget to like take the initiative to go check them out and really learn more about them. And that's something I'm going to hold myself to. Check out some of these Wisconsin lighthouses.
Very nice.
We love it.
It does make for great road trips, day trips, weekend trips, and things like that. And really, even beyond Wisconsin, you go up into the Upper Peninsula on the Minnesota side. If you do Lake Superior, they have a lot of great lighthouses there too. So you can make it kind of a multi-state thing if you want. But of course, the coast ones are here in Wisconsin.
Obviously, yes.
All right. Page 2, as Paul Harvey used to say. Cabin is brought to you in part by Jolly Good Soda. Love that stuff. I grew up with Jolly Good. It's kind of a retro soda because it's back now. Very exciting introduction to make for their 6 great flavors. They've got a new diet soda line, which is good news for me. Every diet can of Jolly Good soda, I drink so much. Whatever I like, I drink too much of. So if I drank regular soda, way too much sugar. Every diet can of Jolly Good soda is caffeine free. No calories, no carbs, no sugars. Oh. It's a great way to enjoy your favorite flavors without the guilt. And they're also great for mixing.
Oh,
just remember that.
Yeah, sour power is the best mixer.
Absolutely. So you want to know where you can get it. Of course, they're at Festival Foods and a bunch of your other favorite food stores. Make sure to stay up to date on their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. They're all at Jolly Good Soda for all their fun promotions. In fact, right now they're running a Case of the Mondays promo because apparently these people watched the movie Office Space at one point. Every Monday during 2021, they're giving away a 12-pack to one lucky winner. You can choose what flavor you'd like. Just follow along on their social for your chance to win.
Oh. It's time for a review, and this one comes to us by McKenna Maui. It's called Homesick Remedy Short and Sweet. She says, thanks for helping remedy my homesickness as a Wisconsinite living in Colorado. Your episodes bring comfort and make me feel closer to home. Keep it up.
Aw.
Thanks,
There
McKenna.
are no lighthouses in
McKenna.
Colorado.
None? Not a one.
Not a one.
Not a one.
McKenna or McKenna Maui. Oh, I like that. Hawaiian name on a Wisconsin person.
Living in Colorado. She's just full of surprises. I
Right,
love it.
I'm telling you. Thank you for that review. That was great.
That's so nice.
Well, we're going to do something in 72 seconds, and it's St. Patty's weekend coming up, or day, really, because it's a Wednesday this year. People are going to make a weekend out of it starting on Wednesday, aren't they? Starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know this is going to happen. So I have 72 seconds to basically just name off a bunch of Irish beers, do I not?
I'm so excited for this.
Well, this
Yeah.
isn't a rapid fire thing because I don't have 72 total beers.
What?
That
I
would
have
be
72
a lot
seconds
to say.
it. That would be a
One
lot
per
to
second.
say. But I'm going to talk about some Irish beers, like made in Ireland, and then a number of beers made in Irish style that are made by craft breweries across Wisconsin. All the ones I could find that I verified to at least some extent are current. Because craft breweries, they stop making some beers and they move to others and everything. So I did my research. I can't guarantee it's 100% accurate, but it's close. And really on St. Patty's, it's okay. I will say, by the way, if you're drinking green beer, it's not Irish beer. It's Miller Lite, it's Coors Light, it's Bud Light with
Someone's
green food
not a
coloring in
fan
it.
of the green beer.
So, well, I know, but They don't do it in Ireland. Let's put it that. Well, maybe they do it in Ireland, but
I don't know. Susan, you've been there. Do they do it?
Well, I wasn't there for St. Patrick's Day. I don't think so. I think they just enjoy a good old pint of Guinness.
Well,
they call it a day.
You heard it. You heard it here, folks.
yes.
You ready to go, Eric?
Sure.
All right.
And I am going to start with Guinness because it is the quintessential Irish beer. It takes forever to pour, but it's worth the wait and actually has fewer calories per ounce than Miller Lite does just by a scotch. So hard to believe, but it's true. Harpslager, Smithwick's, of course, Murphy's Irish Stout, and then there's O'Hara's Irish Stout and O'Hara's Craft Lager, both made by the Carlow Brewing Company over there. Kilkenny Irish Cream Ale, Wild Irish Goza, which is a kettle sour from the Logill Brewery, and Magner's Irish Cider, of course, made from apples. If you love ciders, that is a Irish one if you wish to partake. Now, some places in Wisconsin that make Irish beers. Public Brewing in Kenosha makes a great bone-dry Irish stout. There's also an Irish stout you can find at Water Street Brewery in Milwaukee, Delafield, Grafton, or Oak Creek. Alley the Red Irish Ale, Zambaldi Beer Company, which is in the Eloise Green Bay line. The Red Morning Sky Irish Red is in Noble Roots Brewing in Green Bay. And, of course, the classic Johnny Blood Red, named after Johnny Blood McNally, the former Packer way back in the day, at Titletown Brewing in Green Bay. Also, Sacred Cow Irish Stout, South Shore Brewing in Ashland and Washburn. Where's the music? Oh, there it is. Bent Rail Brew Pub. They make an Irish Red in Westfield. And I have a bunch more. What the heck?
I feel drunk already.
I'm going to say it. Tower 81 Irish Red, Rock County Brewing in Janesville. The Blarney Stone Stout at Melms Brewing in Heartland. Bull Falls Irish Red Ale at Bull Falls Brewing in Wausau. The Highlands Irish Red at Swinging Bridge Brewing in River Falls. In fact, at Swinging Bridge in River Falls, they have two more. Aislin's Irish Blonde Ale, and that's a malt and yeast from Ireland. And Cleary's Dry Irish Stout, also at Swinging Bridge in River Falls.
Well
So
done.
there you go.
Well done.
Good
I
research.
stopped when
You
the
didn't
music
even have an
stopped,
intern.
but darn it. You
I
got
didn't
the
have an
remix.
assistant. Here you
You
are.
got the extended remix version.
Very nice.
Very impressed.
Definitely
per
a
usual.
long list for me to check out.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll draw up some road trip brewery tour ideas for you.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like it.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's my specialty. So a few weeks back, I took the reins of the episode to most of my favorite Milwaukee hidden gems. That was a really popular cabin episode. But next week, we're going to pass it to Mariah and the rest of the cabin crew to take you through Madison's hidden gems. So make sure you come back next week.
Oh,
There hasn't been many sound effects this episode. I've been getting kind of bored.
you're
Just
getting
gonna hit
antsy
everyone.
over there.
So make sure you come back next week for the best kept secrets of our capital city.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by me, Mariah Haberman, Eric Paulson, Dave Janis, and Susan Foch. Produced by me, Susan Foch, and Audio Dave, with video editing by Andrew Natvig, and social media by Abby Stecker and Susan Foch. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover Media Works. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com, and don't forget to leave us that review.